recording.
And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to another special edition of Talking Turnbuckles on the Athletically Declined YouTube channel. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calvillo, dropping daily Houston Texans content on my channel, 713 Houston Sports. My co-host, my brother, my partner in crime, Angel Kicks Balls. How's it going, Papa?
Man, great. Raw was great. Life is great. Please let us not go to war.
Yeah, man, we just wanna, we just wanna wish that everything just turns out smoothly. As we move into this Monday night Raw review, the first thing that we want to talk about and get out the way, not get out the way, but the first thing we want to discuss is the injury to Liv Morgan. We want to wish her the very best, the speediest of recoveries. Um, a shoulder injury that she suffered in a match tonight against Kyrie Sane. It was a great match, and unfortunately, she falls just flat on her, on her stomach, and you see the shoulder pop out. So, want to wish her the very best, the speediest of recoveries once again. Um, Angel, man, you got any words for Liv Morgan?
Just speedy recovery,
Mhm.
man. I texted you guys watching it
You
the
did.
beginning of the show, and I was like, dude, she's a star.
Mhm.
She is the main show. She has so many segments throughout the night, and then I see that her shoulder pops out. Hopefully, just pop it back in. Let's go.
Yes, let's give her flowers. She has been carrying Monday Night Raw as one of the leads of the women's division. We start off Raw actually with Liv Morgan asking for not asking for a title shot, but demanding a title shot versus Miss Io Sky. Io Sky just saying, if you want it, come get it. You've been very disrespectful. You disrespected Nikki Bella. Not a strong segment to start off Monday Night Raw, but hey, we finally get to see Io Sky in a feud as women's champion.
We haven't seen her that much,
I
honestly.
have
She
not.
hasn't really defending that. I wonder if she's injured or just they don't know what to do.
Mm. It's kind of not. I don't want to say frustrating, but it's kind of difficult to understand. How do you not have a plan for Io Sky? I mean, it's been widely said she's one of the best wrestlers, not just as just in the women's division. She's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yep.
She is fantastic. I always love when she puts the trash can on, jumps off the ladder. I love her emote. Io Sky is blockbuster. We need her regularly on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to her versus Liv. I was like, man, that would be a great match.
Yeah. And as we move on, we get into a fatal four-way, the return of Asuka, which was unfortunately spoiled the week before when they were showing
The bracket.
the brackets, and kind of did it a disservice, but it was Asuka versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Ivy Now, and of course, Miss Stephanie Valkyr. In the return of Asuka, I just wish they would have kept it a secret, man, because the the costume was fire. Her makeup was fire. She kind of gave me a scare during the match when she grabbed her knee, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just
She was
goes to
talking.
show how great she is. Shout out to Oscar, man. She had a fantastic match. What do you think about this match overall? She picks up the victory.
I thought the right person won.
Mm-hmm.
She's been gone for a year. You're
13
not
months. 13 months.
13 months. You don't want to push Stephanie Vaquero down people's throats either. I thought it was between them two, but Oscar, she's been gone for a year. It's
Mm-hmm.
her shine, and you were right. If they would have kept it a secret, that pop would have been insane.
Yeah. I think it was a great match. I kind of like what they're doing with Raquel, kind of making her like a unstoppable force, right? Just one of the strongest women in the division. In the beginning of the match, right, when Now tries to pin her over, she just grabs her by the head and just slams her down. Of course, we know how great Stephanie Valkyrie is, the future of the WWE Women's Division, man. Every single week, dude. I don't want to say she gets better because she's already great, but she has become a workhorse for WWE. Her work that she did over the previous weekend, wrestling multiple matches over little days, Stephanie Valkyrie, man, she is becoming a superstar. Already is.
My only thing that I could change about her, let her talk in Spanish. Let Io Sky speak Japanese. Like it sounded ridiculous when they're talking English, and it's like they're working on it, but let's just wait till they perfect it because
Mm-hmm.
it just give it it's minus 1,000 aura points to me when I hear it. When I was hearing Io earlier, I was like, bruh, who approved this?
Mm.
But they're trying their best. I mean, obviously, but let them speak in their language, put some subtitles. This is Netflix. We do that with anime.
Yeah, I don't mind the subtitles, and I think it just adds more. We love the when they were doing the Shinsuke Nakamura, promos in Japanese, and it felt like an entirely different character. So, let
Mhm.
these guys cook. We know there's a lot of, different, there's wrestlers from all different parts of the world in WWE. Let's start showing them off. As we move on, we get to find out who is next, Angel, and to no surprise, a return that I don't want to say shocked everyone, but did shock everyone. And that was Goldberg coming out and letting new world heavyweight champion Gunther know that he is next. They will be going at it in Atlanta, Georgia, Saturday night main event. Your thoughts on the Goldberg return?
There was rumors about it. I didn't think they were gonna pull the trigger, so I was shocked. I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, don't know how I feel about it just yet. It is Goldberg's hometown, and we
Mm-hmm.
did know that he had one last run in his contract. So does he win it? We'll see. He looked every bit of however old he
He's
is.
always gonna look jacked. He's always gonna look like he's ready to go, but it just if he does win it, then what is that? Then where does that leave you with Gunther,
It's just a slap
who
to the face to the
that's
fans.
like back to back title losses against two guys who are inferior to Gunther in the ring. Can't even touch Gunther
Agree.
in the ring. I would like to see this, if we're, like let's flash forward. I would like to see Gunther, win the matchup, but I think this is what Gunther needed as his real legitimate, foe for the World Heavyweight Championship. Because yes, we know Jey Uso, we love Jey Uso, but deep down, you're like, all right, who is the bigger threat here when you compare those two side by side, Goldberg or Jey Uso to Gunther? And it's Goldberg. If this is Sami Zayn, World Heavyweight Champion, we're picking Jey Uso every single day.
And
I Go ahead.
I will say because I was looking at Goldberg gassing out at the end.
Yeah, he got tired real quick.
We just need Gunther to last 3 minutes and he'll be fine.
Yes, that's the one thing about Goldberg is he can't wrestle. He cannot. Go back
Nope.
and look at his match against William Regal. You see, as soon as the bell rings, that this man cannot wrestle. But I like it as a feud for Gunther. Like I said, his first legit feud, in my opinion. Then we move on to a fun match between J.D. McDonough versus AJ Styles, and here we get to see, AJ Styles go into the title picture contention, and we get to find out later that it will be AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title in the future. But what do you think about the match between JD McDonough and AJ Styles?
I thought the match was good. I liked how Dom pretty much told Finn, "Nah, I'm gonna go out there and make sure
Mm-hmm.
he gets the job handled." But obviously, never happens. But I'm glad for AJ. He looks phenomenal. Obviously, and that's gonna be a great match. Him versus Dom. He's only defended the title twice versus Shapes, so it's good that he gets to fight AJ Styles.
And every time JD McDonough's out there, I just think he does fantastic work. I am a huge fan of him. That moment where AJ Styles was chasing Dominic Mysterio, and they get towards the bell corner, and JD just comes flying over. That's why I think he's very underrated. But I think this was an okay match, a pretty good match between two guys who are fantastic at their craft. But moving on, as Bleach Report says, it was an old rivalry renewed as we got to see Bailey come out and explain all the drama that has been going on the previous weeks, the previous months. As we know, she was attacked at a WrestleMania by Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch comes out wearing Chicago Bears colors in Green Bay, Wisconsin. As you all know, the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears, bitter rivals. Bitter rivals. Great segment between the two. Angel, what were your thoughts?
Man, that promo was amazing. They were
Yep.
taking shots at each other. I thought they were about to go at it for real.
Mm-hmm. It's just when you look at these two, they're pioneers, they're Hall of Famers. If you have a Mount Rushmore for the new generation of women's wrestling, those two have to be on there.
Of
Hell,
course.
the way these two are going, you can say they could both end up in the greatest women wrestlers of all time. I think you can never get tired of a Bailey and Becky Lynch feud. They both know each other so damn well. Two former horsewomen going at it again. I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great match. I actually like that better than Becky versus Lyra. It's just for the Intercontinental. But that part where Becky told us like, "You like being second fiddle. You don't care if you're the champ. You don't care if you're number one."
Mm-hmm.
A part of that's true, and Bailey said it herself. And she's like, "I wish I was more, egotistic, and I could, politic my way into things." And I was, a part of me wants Bailey to do that because she kind of, it's true. She just kind of sits back and like whatever gets handed her, she'll take it. But say, dude, push for it because you're one of the force horsewomen. Of course, you should be in the top like Charlotte and Becky, and
So should we be seeing a more aggressive Bailey?
I think so. I hope so.
I don't want to say turn her heel, but like, just get further away from I'm a hugger, as you possibly can. But like I said, you can never go too wrong with a Becky Lynch and Bailey feud. Moving on, we get a great fatal four way. Jey Uso, Rusev, Sheamus, and Bronson Reed. And of course, you get the interferences from Paul Heyman and his crew. You get interferences from Cody Rhodes, from Sami Zayn, from Cero Miedo. Dude, what a main event. Just blockbuster.
Yeah, I was in the middle of my soccer game watching it on the sidelines, and like literally, while I was in my goal while I was watching the phone, and I was just hearing it because I was wearing a headphone,
Mhm.
and I was like, what? Everyone's showing up. What? I'm missing a great main event, but I got to see the ending. Not too happy with the ending. Not too happy
Mhm.
with who won. But we'll see what happens.
It's not surprising that Jey Uso won, Angel, in my opinion.
Of course.
But it it is kind of it is kind of I don't want to say disappointing, but we knew it was going to happen. It was predictable. I would have loved to see either Rusev or Bronson Reed, get the win here, right? For Rusev, you're thinking, all right, you returned to WWE. Your first couple of matches against Tozawa, they're okay, but there's no future that I see for Rusev.
Mhm.
And with Bronson Reed, you're thinking, all right, this is one of, of this unnamed, one of the members of this unnamed faction. You give him the win. You not only have an opportunity to win King of the Ring, but you also have the money in the bank with Seth Rollins, who was also a part of this main event. But of course, you had to give it to the babyface. You had to give it to one of the most over wrestlers in WWE at the moment. That was Jey Uso.
You-
Yeet.
I will say this because there was supposed to be a mystery opponent. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
People were not happy when they found out it was Jey Uso because
Of
they were
course not.
expecting Killer
Yeah.
Cross or somebody else.
And that's and that's where I kind of want to lead to my next point. And there was a lot of people upset that it was Jey Uso. And it's like, once again, you see where WWE and TKO come into the money's the first, money's the end all be all. Because, of course, that's what you get when you get the views, you get all these viral moments. And it's like, I would have rather seen it go to Rusev or Bronson Reed.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I was hearing online. I was like, dude, none of these people in the King of the Ring are they're not making stars. It's just people that
Mm-hmm.
we've seen before. No
Yeah.
one, and it's the King. If you remember King of the Ring back in the day, it was up and comers, people that didn't have anything going on. But now it's just whoever gets the more clicks, the more views. Jey
Mm-hmm.
Uso, Cody, Randy. It's no longer like a young man's tournament anymore. That's how we got Stone Cold,
Yeah.
and now we have just super like the main events pretty much there.
Remember King Booker, how
King Book,
fantastic that was.
Baron
It-
Corbin. He had nothing going on, and then he became a king, and it was his career kind of took off for a bit.
Now, wouldn't you say Jey Uso is now the front runner for this entire tournament?
I have a feeling we're getting Cody versus Jay for the final.
That's what kind of where I'm going to is how you just said this is not a young man's tournament anymore.
Yep.
But I will say I will be invested into this though, Angel.
Oh yeah,
I think
100%.
WWE is preparing for Night of Champions in a right way. I think they're doing everything at their pace, which is what we want. I don't want to see anything rushed. Even though we have crazy PLEs coming up, I want to see everything planned perfectly. So when you look at what Karrion Kross has been doing verbally over the past month, because we don't see him wrestle, right? So we're only able to see what he's saying, and every single week it's like Karrion Kross, I love it. I love it. And every single week, the fans are begging for more, and we don't get it. And when we saw the mysterious partner, everyone immediately said Karrion Kross. But no, it's Jey Uso, because you know what happens when Jey Uso is in the main event. You get the clicks, you get the views, you get the comments,
Make
you get the
Rikishi happy.
shares, man.
We did. We are gonna get Killer Cross or Sami Zayn next week. We didn't talk about that segment,
Oh, you're
but
right.
we are gonna get him next week though. We finally get to see him on TV fighting.
Do you think they're gonna push Karrion Kross though, or do you think they're gonna give Sammy the win?
Sammy, of course, he's gonna win. Of course. Maybe Bronson Reed and Seth and them interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't mind that at all,
And
right?
maybe kill it. Karen Cross is a little fourth
But is
man.
Karrion the heel here in his story? Because in his story, he is someone that is being pushed lower and lower and lower, no matter how much love that he gets, no matter how much. It's funny because we find out that he's one of the top in merchandise sellings.
Yup.
And there was a TikTok the other day of, I believe his name is Freddie Freeman, the guy who played, who was in the Scooby Doo movies, who was Fred.
Oh yeah, Freddie Prince
Yeah.
Jr.
Okay, I don't know why I said Freddie Freeman. Oh, that's the baseball player. Yeah, Freddie Prince Jr. talked about how he showed Vince McMahon how Jeff Hardy was super over at the time, and how his merchandise was at the top of the top. And he said, "Hey, look at where Jeff's at." And that's when the thought process of putting the title on Jeff Hardy came into fruition. I just want to know if that happens here, because we recently saw the fan base have a legit voice, and that was when we showed our displeasure for the announcement of R-Truth's contract, being ended and not being renewed.
Yep.
We want truth. We want truth, and we got truth back. Well, Angel, I'm going to ask you. Next week it's going to be clear that Karrion Kross is going to be well liked. We're going to see it in the arena. We're going to see it on Twitter. Is the WWE voice going to come into fruition again? Are we going to see a Karrion Kross upset?
The only thing is we don't have Vince
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't
Let's
think so.
TKO now. I don't know what analytics they're watching, but I mean, like, you put the title on Jey Uso because he's selling a lot of merch and he was over. Well, same thing with this guy. Why does he not get a push? It's the question. LA Knight too.
Yeah, LA Knight was also part of that main event. Dude, how far is Survivor Series away?
Survivor Series. That's a November pay per view.
Okay. Reason why I say that is because there's a lot of men involved.
A lot
You
of
know,
meats.
and you got Bronson Reed, you got the big dog, you got
Oof, oof.
Seth Rollins, and on the other side it's Cody Rhodes, it's Jey Uso,
CM Punk.
it's CM Punk, it's Penta. I just feel like this is leading to a huge clash, man.
Yeah, I would like to see it, and I hope it's old school way, like how it used to be, not just Raw versus SmackDown. It's like, hey, whoever's or how no, it used to be Raw versus SmackDown,
Yeah,
and
it,
then it's
it, it used to be Raw versus SmackDown, and then they changed it to where factions were just beefing with each other, and
what do you want to see?
factions beefing with each other. Like I
But
want to
like, but like
see,
legit
I
beef,
want to
like
see this Paul Heyman faction
yeah.
against just the baby faces, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Oh, maybe they have John Cena, Logan Paul with them. Just
John
the main
Cena,
event,
Logan
main
Paul,
stars.
Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker,
Seven.
Seth Rollins against. Well, there has to be six, right? Because there's only three. There's Seth
Oh, it's
Rollins,
five.
Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed.
Karrion Cross.
Oh, I thought it was 6 on 6.
It is now.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
ladies
I,
and
I honestly don't know though.
what was your final grade, man, on tonight's Monday Night Raw?
Man, I honestly I would give it a B plus. I thought it was good. It
A
was
B
good. The
plus?
matches were great. Uh, not enough Dom for me. I want to see Dom fighting. No Penta fighting.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you all who have watched tonight's episode as we broke down what the hell happened in tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. That was Angels Kicks Balls. I am Ruben Calvillo. For more content, wrestling content, feel free to come back next week as we break down whatever the hell happened on the next edition of Monday Night Raw. Do us a favor, have a real blessed rest of your day. We'll see you guys next week.